In this video, I'm going to be telling you the 20 rules and explaining why you need them to have a successful advertising campaign in your business. Now, it doesn't matter what type of business you run, these rules apply to any business that involves advertising online. So if you're keen to learn what these are, stick around and I'll tell you right away. So before I do, just want to introduce myself. My name is Javier Tabet, and the reason I can speak about these rules is because they're what we've been using for over a year now to help dozens of our clients scale their businesses and succeed with online advertising. So the first rule is, most importantly, idea creation. Number one is idea genesis. Now, what this involves is creating, writing down, and expanding on ideas in your business and your niche and industry in order to have good ideas to test for your marketing campaigns. Now, why is this important? Good ideas, or just ideas in general, are important because ideas are a dime a dozen. People think that you have to have this magical good idea that's, revolutionary in order to have a successful campaign or a successful business. Now, although that can be the case sometimes, most of the times it's a numbers game and testing different ideas that actually reaps the best rewards. Rule number two is having an ad blueprint. So what is an ad blueprint? An ad blueprint is essentially just a rough sketch of what type of ad you're going for. Now, whether you're going for a TV ad, a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad, a Google ad, email ad, a Pinterest ad, a Snapchat ad, a Instagram ad, a LinkedIn ad, a WhatsApp ad. That's how many ad types there are. Now, obviously, you have to be smart with this. You only have a limited budget and limited time when it comes to running campaigns. So the top three most high performing and common platforms where billions of users use is by far Google, YouTube, and Facebook/Instagram or Meta. So these are the three you should be focusing on. If you have a low budget, focus on Meta, because not only one, they have more data, so they're cheaper to acquire customers, but two, more people use Meta for longer than Google on average. So if you do want to achieve the best high qualified premium results, Google is the best for that. It kind of varies depending on your audience, market, niche, as well as the offer size and the price point of your offer. But essentially, at the end of the day, that comes down to how you market. So let's get into the third rule of advertising. Now, this one's super important. It's mission mapping. Now, what is mission mapping? So mission mapping essentially is where you define your outcome for the campaign, right? You're on a mission, you're trying to launch a successful ad campaign. You need to define your outcome for it, okay? You need to define the outcome for the mission you're on, which is a successful ad campaign. So why do we do this? We do this because we need to set clear goals and KPIs. We need to set our cost per leads, right? We don't want to be acquiring leads that are too expensive for us to service and lead to profitability. We need a mission map because it clearly sets our cost per leads, our cost per acquisition, our ROI, what we're spending on our budget, as well as our cost to acquire a customer, which is super important, something I will get into later down the video, so stay tuned. Don't click off, it's super important. Rule number 4, it's timeline tactics. Now, what does that even mean? Sounds fancy and stupid. Timeline tactics are essentially where you set a goal for all the certain tasks required in an ad campaign. So timeline tactic could look something like, all right, it's going to take me 1 to 2 weeks to launch this campaign. In that 1 to 2 weeks, it's going to take me a week to get all the photos and the videos scripted and shot. It's going to take me another 2 days to get those edited and curated, making them just look amazing. It's going to take me another 2 days to set up the back end automations. Then it's going to take me a day to launch it. Now, timeline tactics are very touchy because everyone has a different schedule. I can only assume, if you're like me and you're a busy entrepreneur, that your time is limited. So setting a time frame for your campaign is super important. And remember, there's 2 laws you need to take into account here. Now, these aren't rules, these are laws, right? This is Murphy's Law and Parkinson's Law. Murphy's Law assumes that if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. So you have to kind of understand that there's a room for error when it comes to a marketing campaign. Now, Parkinson's Law states that a task will usually take the amount of time that someone sets to fill it. So if you say, okay, I'm going to take a month to get this campaign done, you're going to roughly get it done in a month because in your mind, it's taking a month. If you are hypercritical and you want to get it out as soon as possible, and that goes into one of the later points you should stick around for, I'll keep it a secret. But if you want to get it done as soon as possible, you have to set a timeline that's 1, realistic, but 2, achievable, and 3, uses a lot of effort. Now, why is 3 important? because if your timeline doesn't have effort in it, it's going to take longer. And the longer you let a campaign take before it's actually launching and spending money, the more time and money you're wasting. Now, why are you wasting more money? Because you don't know if that campaign's working. You can't bet on it. You can only assume it's going to work based off the research and the planning you've done. Now, although it kind of contradicts itself because there's less planning, at the same time, the best research you can do is market research. What is market research? It's testing in the market, testing if your offer works in the market, putting money to get it in front of people to see if that marketing works. So that is the importance of rule number 4, timeline tactics. What about rule number 5? Before I get into number 5, if you don't know who I am already, my name is Javier Tabet. I've been running my digital marketing agency, Capital Edge Media, for the last year now. And the reason I could speak about this stuff is because we've been using these strategies to help our clients scale their businesses using AI, using automations, and obviously using these core marketing principles. So if you like this video and you find it valuable, like and subscribe and leave a cheeky comment if you know me. The 5th rule is the rule of target tracking, right? Now, why is this a rule? If you don't know what you're hitting, you're not going to hit anything, right? What is target tracking? Now, you might think it's tracking your KPIs, and that is a later point we'll get into, but target tracking is essentially tracking your customer, knowing who they are, knowing their pain points, knowing their frustrations, knowing what type of things make them angry, what type of thing sounds like a good deal, knowing the archetype that your customer is. Now, this is super important because if you don't track your target audience, you don't track your target, you're not going to hit them, right? It's like a hunter going into the woods, trying to find all the different animals, trying to hunt and get all the different animals, trying to get a fox, a deer, a rabbit, a bear, a doe, a bird, a lynx, trying to hunt all of those things. It's not going to know what to look for. It's going to end up coming back empty-handed. But if you're tracking and you're going out in the woods to find a deer, you're only tracking deers, your eyes locked in, you're going to figure out how to get there, where its patterns are, what its footprint looks like, what trees it goes to, right? This is the same concept, but with your targeting and with your marketing. You need to know the people you're trying to sell to like your best friend. I guarantee you know your best friend better than you know these people. You got to change that. You got to flip the script. You got to make sure that these people are like, you can sense them in a crowd of 100. Why? Because it's the way they act. It's the way that they long for a solution that you're providing. You need to be able to know that and write it down. So that leads into point number 7, which I'm going to get into after point number 6, which is platform profiling. So the rule of platform profiling is essentially you need to identify the channels that work the best for your business, right? What channels are you using to communicate to your customers? Are you using TikTok? Are you using Google ads? Are you using paid Pinterest ads, right? These are all very real things and they all have varying ROIs and return on ad spends because it's essentially where your customers will be. Now that goes into the step we just talked about. You got to know your customers. Where are your customers hanging out? Are they on Google? Are they watching YouTube videos? Are they scrolling through Pinterest looking for ideas? Are they scrolling in a women's magazine, right? You got to know these things because when it comes to putting your message out there, you want to choose a platform with the best chance of resonating with your customers so that you can get the highest profits on your money. Advertising rule number 7 is strategy scribing. Now, what is strategy scribing? Strategy scribing is essentially what it sounds like. It's scribing out and it's writing out your strategy. Now, this is really easy. The reason we do it is so that we can concisely put all the information I just talked about into one document. Now, use Google Docs, use Words, use a Power presentation, use a piece of paper if you want. Essentially, the best thing about strategy scribing is that there are so many moving parts in a market campaign, so many, and putting them all together in one strategy, in one document, in one place, allows your team and allows yourself peace of mind knowing that if you're stuck, if you're trying to double check something, you just go to this one document. You don't need to hassle, you don't need to talk to this person, that person, you just go to the one document. Now, it's super important that you do this. I recommend don't skip this step. Before you even start a campaign, open a document, put the title of the campaign, and then go back through the rest of this video all the way to point number 1 and follow it step by step and fill in the necessary steps, right? The 8th step, which is probably one of my favorite steps, right? It is conversion bridging. Now, what is a conversion bridge or conversion pathway? Now, it may sound trickier than it is, but essentially a conversion bridge is where are your customers converting from cold traffic or warm traffic into qualified leads ready to buy customers. So how are they doing it? How are they doing it? Are they going on a website? Are they going through a lead form? Are they going on a sales page? Are they going on a squeeze page? Are they going into a document where you send them an automation campaign? Like, what is the process behind taking a lead, an unqualified prospect, into a qualified paying customer? This is the bridge right here. Now, the most common one that is used by professionals in the current age is sales pages and landing pages. What these do is they act like a mini pitch to your customer that can be run 24/7 to sell your customer on the next step, which is booking a call, watching a video, claiming a free offer, essentially giving you more information so that you can pre-sell them, right? And sell them onto your package, or sell them onto your deal, sell them onto your products. That's what conversion pathways are. Now, most people make the mistake of not having a conversion pathway. It's so stupid, but it is the biggest mistake I see 90% of businesses make. Is their conversion pathway is their website. What are you doing, right? Your website is made to inform and let people know about your services. It's not made to convert traffic that you're spending money on, right? So let's move on to point number 9. Rule number 9 is the content compass. Now, this one's super self-explanatory. It's what type of content are you making? Like, what is the content your viewer is seeing or reading that's converting them, that's making them take an action, right? Is it a video? Is it a script? Is it a audio? Is it a montage? Is it a voiceover? Is it somebody else talking about it? Is it a genuine customer who's happy talking about it? Is it a picture ad? Is it text and pictures? Is it a mix of all of them? Or is it a carousel, right? These are the things you got to take in mind when it comes to the content of your campaign. Now, this is super important. I recommend seeing what type of content your competitors do. And the way you can do this, a little secret I don't tell people, is go on Facebook Ads Library, search your competitors in your region, Australia, UK, Europe, wherever, and then see what they're doing. You can see their ads, you can see what copy they wrote. Now, don't copy it, just look at it and go, okay, they're running video ads. Okay, they're running photo ads. Now you know what content's working, right? And it's better if their ad has been running for longer, because it means that it's been working for longer, which means it's profitable, which means you can emulate it. Keyword, emulate. So now that you have your content compass, what do you have to do next? Rule number 10. Now, these are kind of split into 2 different rules here. It's before the campaign and after the campaign, but it's super, super important you understand polishing and publishing. Now, this is another mistake advertisers make, is they don't polish their content. They don't look at everything and go, does it align? Does it make sense? Is it the right messaging? Is it the right target audience? Will this conversion bridge work? Is all the spelling right? Is everything right? Is it in the right order? They don't do that. They launch it prematurely and it fucking fails. That is the biggest flop I see happen. Don't be one of those people. Polish and then publish your content after it's been thoroughly read. Now, this can be done within a couple hours. It can be done within 2 hours. Read it thoroughly yourself, word by fucking word, and then get somebody else to do it, and then say what they thought was a bit iffy and change it. If it's a big change, obviously maybe you have to extend the campaign a bit, but if it's a small change, do it right there. Rule number 11, it's your conversion catalyst or your conversion optimization. Why is this important? It's important because if you don't track it, you're not going to know when to turn off a campaign. Now, this is super important because tracking your conversions, tracking what is working on a daily, on a weekly, even twice a day, super important to see what ads, what campaigns, and what videos need to be dialed down or put up in budget, right? So essentially, the KPIs that we listed before, right? The desired cost to acquire a customer, the desired cost to acquire a lead, the desired cost to reach 1,000 people, they should all be listed down. Like I said before, you should have done this in your metrics. Now, if you need the template, stick around to the end and I'll send it through. However, keep in mind that if you don't track or follow up with your conversions, your campaign will continue to waste money. The one thing that lots of people don't do is they think that the campaign is just going to yield results at the end. A campaign is kind of like squeezing a juice. You have to keep squeezing it and adjusting your grip, squeezing a lemon, sorry, and adjusting your grip until you've got every ounce of lemon juice out of that goddamn lemon. Now, if you're the type of person that thinks one squeeze is going to work, you're severely wrong, my friend. You have to change that mindset. And when it comes to campaigns, you have to do the same thing. You have to readjust your grip and see, and the only way you can readjust is by seeing what's working, right? Comparing your metrics to your desired metrics. Now, Be realistic with your metrics, compare them to industry standards, set yours 10% higher and aim for them. Advertising rule number 12. This is a rule I see so many businesses mess up on, or they kind of go weak. And it's kind of sad to see this because lots of businesses really do try and put their heart into the campaign. It's have a follow-up formula, okay? Having a follow-up formula is crucial. 80% of your sales will come after your 5th to 8th follow-up. Keep that in mind, right? As soon as you get the lead and message them 5 times later, that's when you start to see more sales. Now, it's not obviously the same for all industries. It might be different, it might be better, it might be worse, honestly. But the point I'm making is you need a formula using whether that's AI, whether that's hire a team, whether that's hire a VA to follow up with your leads. Now, this is crucial because it's like you're leaving money on the table, right? It's like leaving 80% of your potential sales on the table. Think of that. Imagine spending 5, 10, 15K on a campaign and only getting back 20% of your potential ROI because you just didn't follow up with those leads, and those leads now go to your customers. So another way you can do this is using AI. Fancy. Ooh. However, before I get into it, I just wanted to put this out there that 50% of your initial leads won't even go with you. They won't buy. Out of that 50 that will, 40% will be long-term leads, right? So 40% of those leads will become paying customers after 6 to 12 months, meaning if you don't follow up and keep that relationship open, they're not going to convert. And out of that 10%, out of that 40, that last 10% will buy now within the next 0 to 90 days. So that's how important. It's 0 to 90 days afterwards, after they've known you, after they've seen your ad, after they've converted. Now that to me is crazy, but let's get into the AI. Rule number 13. Rule number 13, have an AI arsenal. Why is this important? Having an AI arsenal is crucial because if you don't start implementing AI, you'll be outcompeted by your local competitors and even international competitors who are already using it. Now, it's not hard to implement AI these days. All you really need to do is pay attention to a really well-structured YouTube video and sign up to a few free accounts. Now, my personal favorite AI automations for business owners are Zapier or Make.com. Now, these work really well because you can integrate things like ChatGPT to make smarter AI-based decisions and to qualify clients, as well as do all other sorts of cool, crazy shit. There are a bunch of videos out there on AI and how to use it. Don't be ignorant and stupid by turning a blind eye to it, because at the end of the day, at the end of the year, in 5 years' time, you'll be outcompeted, outperformed, and outsold by people who use AI. So, rule number 14, it's split decision, right? The split decision rule is, it goes into split testing. Now, if you don't know what A/B split testing is, you can search it up, but essentially it's when you take one winning ad or ad that's working and test it against a different variable or a different type of ad, use the same budget, the same time frame, and test which ad performs better. Now, the split decision rule essentially means you're testing and comparing two ads to see how they perform, because you don't want to keep spending money on ads that aren't performing, getting you leads at the desired cost per lead, because if you can't convert them, and even if you do, they won't be as profitable as the other ads that are getting them at a cheaper cost. So that's the importance of testing. But in this next rule, I'm going to tell you how I use tips from top performing stockbrokers in order to find winning campaigns. The next rule number 15, Alpha Finder. All right. Now, no, you're not finding some dodgy version of Andrew Tate. Now, if you know anything about stocks and portfolio management, you would know that the top performing stock or the top performing fund, essentially it's called alpha. And the reason why, it's because it outperforms everything by all metrics. Now, what we want to do is we want to take this concept of finding alpha and turn it into our own little world of finding our winning campaign, aka finding our alpha ad. I don't really call them that, but I just call them winning campaigns. But essentially, finding our alpha, finding our winning campaign is crucial for our business, because it means that we will get leads at a 20 to 40x return on investment. What does that mean? It means going from getting leads at $15, at $20 a lead, to getting leads at $2 to $5 a lead. Now, when you really think about it, the drop in cost per lead is so significant that you actually put more money behind the campaign. You're like, oh shit, put more money behind it, because if we can get leads that are decent quality at $2, at $3, at $4, at $5, we might as well exhaust that until it goes back to our normal cost per lead. And even that is a positive. Now that's the importance of finding alpha. It's getting a 20 to 40x return on investment on your leads. The next rule, which is not so much a rule, it's one thing we turned into a rule because of how crucial it was. It's data mining. Now, what is data mining? It's taking all the necessary data from that campaign, putting it in a little document, even at the end of that small document, and making sure we know our numbers, and making sure we know our hook rate, our hold rate, making sure we know our conversion rate, making sure we know our cost to acquire a customer, and then a cost to book a call or get a customer in front of us, like all the data required after a campaign or during a campaign that's matured. We need to know that. We need to write that down so that we can know it not only for the next campaign we run, but also for future campaigns and to see how well it performed and whether it was efficient. The other reason that data is important is because it allows us to keep a backup and a storage of our own information. Because if we're using another person's platform to get leads and get information, we're relying on another platform like Google, like Pinterest, like YouTube, like Meta. We're relying on these platforms to allow us to advertise. When we collect emails, when we collect phone numbers, when we collect names, and we collect our own data, we give ourselves and our businesses power. So, rule number 17, pulse check. What's a pulse check? Pulse check is simply seeing if the numbers we're running are making sense, right? Are the numbers that we're getting on our campaigns, on our costs and our expenses, are they actually keeping us in the green or the red or I don't know? Are they keeping us profitable? That's the most important thing. That's why it's called a pulse check, because it's that important. If we're not profitable, turn them off. Start again. The reason I keep pushing track your numbers, track your KPIs, compare. The reason I keep saying this is because if we're not doing that and we let it get out of hand, we essentially are like, we're not taking care of ourselves, not taking care of our health in terms of business, right? We're not taking care of the campaign, and that campaign is burning a hole in our pocket. And if we don't put the fire up early, if we don't check our pulse, we're going to burn a hole in our budget and come to the point of no return where we inevitably go, well, shit, advertising doesn't work. That's not true. It didn't work because you didn't do the right things. So that's why it's super crucial to follow these 20 rules. Now we're nearly done. So stay to the end. I'm going to give you the free checklist with all these rules so you don't forget, you know how to structure a campaign, you know everything to do. So if you find this useful, if you find this valuable, make sure to subscribe down below and leave a cheeky comment if you know me. Rule number 18 is branch and expand. Now, what is branch and expand? It's a form of testing. Branch and expand testing is similar to A/B split testing, only it's a lot more advanced. So instead of testing one result against another, what we're gonna do, we're gonna test like 20, 50, 100 if we have the time to. We're gonna test so many ads that we don't even know if it's gonna be useful. How do we do this? We have our one winning campaign. Then we branch off and we make 2 more. And then we make 4 more, and then we make 8 more, right? And we test, similar to a branch, different variations, different colors, different messaging, different tones, different locations, different photos, different videos, different types. We test so many different things that it is inevitable for us to find alpha, right? Like I said, going back to my previous points, it's inevitable, keep that in mind, for us to find the winning campaign. The reason we want to branch test is because finding a winning campaign is actually just, it's once you've experienced it in your business and you've had hundreds of leads flow in at cost per lead you didn't think were possible, you would understand. If you haven't, you need a branch test. All right, so that's branch testing. Rule number 19, the rule of speed. Now, I mentioned it before, but the rule of speed is critical. If you don't do this as fast as you can, the rule of speed comes into play when we talk about effort, right? The rule of speed, doing it as fast as you can, as much as you can, in as quick as a time frame possible, is critical, absolutely critical to your campaign. Because if you have a campaign and it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. You have to use the rule of speed, do what you know again, change the things that you think didn't work, change the things that you think might work, and test again. Advertising is a tricky game because it's a game of testing and staying profitable. Now, if you're a business, you would know this. And if you're starting out and you don't know where to advertise, you should be following this channel. This is a channel where we talk about AI, advertising, and marketing, as well as entrepreneurship, health, wealth, and happiness. These are things we talk about on a general spectrum so that us as business owners, we can actually develop ourselves and become, sovereign business owners. We're not a slave to our business. We've scaled it to the degree that we want to. However, speed is critical when it comes to advertising. A little tip I'll give you guys, right? This is something I don't usually tell people, is have a backup campaign, all right? Have very briefly some creatives that you're going to test if the ones you're testing now don't fail, that are different, of course. have copy, writing, have a conversion bridge that you haven't tested before that you want to try in your back pocket in another document, maybe at the end of that document you started. That way, if the campaign you're testing fails, you have a backup that you can kind of pull out and go, all right, let's piece this puppy together and get a new campaign up and test new variables. Last but not least, the one you've all been waiting for, a little something that's gonna blow your mind. The rule of repetition, right? Rinse and repeat, right? We'll call it the rule of rinse and repeat. Now, why is this important? If you don't continue to advertise, people will forget your brand, they'll forget your business, and you'll have to go back to working a job, right? Working a job in 6 to 12 months, going back with your tail between your legs and your head down, not a great feeling, right? It's embarrassment, it's humility, it's the feeling of failure, and you can't escape that feeling. We don't want that. So what we have to do is we have to profitably test and retest our campaigns until we have a campaign and a strategy that prints us clients, all right? So those are the 20 advertising rules, guys. If you found this video helpful, if you found it valuable, leave a comment in the section below, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up if you like this video. If you want the 20 advertising rules checklist, check the link in the description below. It will be there completely free. It's pretty straightforward, but if you want to save this video for later and use it as a reference, you're more than welcome to do so. Otherwise, have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the next video.